Welcome to the Green Wasp Removal YouTube channel. In this episode, we take on a small but fierce Eastern Yellowjacket nest that was living in the ground. Ground nests can be very dangerous because it can be difficult to spot before it's too late. And in this case, the owner of this property was mowing the lawn, and sure enough, they got stung before they even knew the nest was there. This is a native and beneficial species, but they will come out swinging, ready to fight. So when they're in a dangerous location like this, they have to go. And in this episode, we're going to show you how we collect all the flying adult wasps first, and then we dig out the brood comb, which you see us doing here. And then we track down the queen and try to get her contained. We'll show you in this episode how we track her and how she tries to escape. You see her here digging away, trying to get away from us, but we captured her. We then transfer the queen along with her brood comb, the entire nest that was dug up, into a temporary container. And we bring this back to the barn lab where we can incubate all of the pupating wasps in this nest until they're hatching out as adults, and then we can collect them for venom immunotherapy. We'll also show you how we flash freeze the adult wasp specimens that we collect. This is how we preserve their venom at the highest quality possible by immediately freezing them while they're alive in a flash freeze process using frozen CO2 or dry ice. And dry ice is a super low temp ice that knocks out the wasps both through the CO2 gas and through the cold instantaneously. This is the most humane way to euthanize them for human biomedical use in venom immunotherapy. Finally, we'll show you how we do follow-up on a ground nest removal. What we do typically is spray the area down that used to have the nest, and we use a non-toxic mix of soap and water and essential oil, usually peppermint, clove, lemongrass, that sort of thing. This sort of blows away whatever pheromone is left in there that would attract more wasps, and it kills any other wasp that may still be in the dirt. We want to show you how you simply do not need poison, toxins, pesticide of any kind to ever deal with any type of wasp. Soap and water and essential oil is all you will ever need. Once we've sprayed the area and filled in the dirt in the hole to fill it up, make it look like it used to before we got there, we give it one more quick spray, and then we're done. For now, let's go back to August 5th, 2025, and we'll show you the entire job. As always, we appreciate you riding along with us. If you enjoy the show, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment to let us know you're there. August 5th, 2025. Here we have a ground nest of yellow jackets. One of the homeowner's family members got stung when she was mowing the lawn over here. So we're gonna have to remove this nest. Probably Eastern Yellowjackets, maybe German. We'll take a look at them and get a species ID here, capture some specimens. Eastern Yellowjacket from the pattern on the back. Here we're going to freeze this frame for just a minute so we can explain to you how we identify the Eastern Yellowjacket in the field through the markings on its back. As you can tell, one of the markings on the back looks just like a wide anchor-shaped pattern, and that's how we know it's an Eastern Yellowjacket. This is the only species in this region that looks like that. And it's important to identify the species before we do the collection because we have very specific collection bottles exclusive to each species so that we don't have any cross-contamination within the venom collection that we do. Here we start the first part of our process, which we call phase 1. It's simply a matter of collecting all of the flying wasps that we can before we try to dig out the brood comb. And this was a relatively small nest, but very, very active. There was a lot of foraging activity going on all the time. And these are the female wasps that end up coming out to sting you if you disturb the nest by accident. So we always try to get these collected first, both for our own safety, for the team working on the nest, and also for any bystanders around the neighborhood. We don't want a bunch of wasps flying around in an angry way, so we really try to control the swarm this way. We're just going to show you some footage of what this looks like in fast forward. Generally, the timing on this depends on the size of the nest and how many of them are out of the nest and flying around and coming to and from the entry point. There's really no set time involved, but some nests that are large and very active, we might spend an hour or two collecting as many as we possibly can for venom immunotherapy before we even attempt to dig the nest up. It's much easier and more efficient to collect them when they're focused on their entry point that leads them to their nest. That way we focus on their entry point while they're focusing on the entry point, and they all come together in the right way. If you dig the nest up while there's still many of them out in the environment, then they just come back all confused and fly all over the place, and they don't focus on any particular point in the ground, and it takes much longer to collect them all. Here you see us stomping around on the ground to stimulate the nest to go into the attack response. And what that does is it causes all of these wasps that are hiding in the hole in the ground to come flooding out, ready to attack whatever is bothering their nest area. And that process gets them to come out and fly, and as soon as they do that, they get collected. Or when they come back to the nest after flying around a little bit to see what's going on, they get collected on the way back in. This is a much more efficient way to do it, rather than constantly just waiting for them to come out on their own. But the key to stimulating an attack response is to make very sure that you have the proper gear on and that you are safety checked and nothing can sting you through that suit, because they come out in force. They come out and act like killer bees. They will keep stinging you and keep attacking you until you leave the area, and I mean far away from the nest. So if you are not protected, you will soon be in a world of hurt with many, many stings, to the point where you might even go into venom toxicity even if you don't have a venom allergy. You can get stung that bad, that fast, by that many wasps very easily in a situation like this. So you never ever want to try this without the proper protection. That said, nothing about this process is particularly difficult to learn or to perform yourself. You simply have to do it properly. So we do encourage people to take the initiative, use a shop vac instead of poison. You can vacuum them up out of the ground just like you see here. You don't have to collect them, of course, for venom immunotherapy like we do. So all you have to do is put a little bit of water, a couple inches of water with a splash of dish soap in your shop vac, and put this shop vac up to the hole, the entry hole, and just leave it running for a couple hours. Stay out of the way, stay out of the area, and just let your vac collect every wasp that flies out of there. Do that every day that you see activity until there's no more activity. You don't have to dig up the brood comb. You're just interrupting the process of food being delivered to that nest by collecting all the flying foragers. So in due course, that nest will starve out.
All right, once we get to the point where there's no more coming out to attack despite agitating the nest, that means most of the attackers are already collected here. So we're going to go ahead now and dig out the brood comb.
Here we're going to show you what we call phase 2 of our collection process, where we dig the brood comb out of the ground. Or if it's in a building, we may take it out of a ceiling or out of a wall cavity. But either way, what we're doing is directly taking the nest, the entire brood comb, all of the pupae, eggs, larvae, anything in that nest, more adult wasps in between the comb layers, we're taking it all out, physically removing it. And that's phase 2. And we just show you what that looks like here, mostly in 4 times fast forward, some at normal speed.
Right here's some of the comb in the paper. They use a lot of root cavities to get their nest started. So there often will be roots supporting the nest and around the nest site. So we're looking for the queen in here. Here's the queen. There's the queen right here. You can see how much larger she is. She's digging to escape. Now we're going to spray down the area with essential oils and soap and water just to block the pheromone and prevent more activity here. So we use a non-toxic mix of essential oil like peppermint clove and lemongrass mixed with soap and water, dish soap and water. That's all you ever need. No toxins required. So if you look in here, you can see how fast they expire. Just from oil, soap, and water. It blocks the breathing pores in their abdomen. It's called spiracles. And as soon as you do that, they die. No need for poison at all. That's it. So you see, when returning foragers come back from the environment, they can't land or they'll get oil all over them, so it's a good deterrent. They will still try to land and explore, but if they do, they'll die. So here's the nest, and here's the queen. We can incubate the rest of these white silk cap pupating larvae. We'll incubate those back at the barn lab. Now we're going to freeze these specimens for venom immunotherapy.